Ever notice how the people who need financial help the most are often the quietest about it? There's a hushed reluctance, a belief that wanting more is somehow wrong, that ambition is a sin. But let me tell you something that might ruffle your feathers. Money matters more than you think. It's not everything, but it affects everything. You can ignore this out of pride, or you can learn something today that could transform your finances in just 5 days. It all starts with a single idea. Wealth doesn't change you, it reveals who you already are. That might sting some, but it's a truth I learned early. Dead broke, hopeless, people saw me as a failure. And the funny thing? So did I. I believed I didn't deserve more than I had, and that belief, it became my reality. The money wasn't the problem, my self-worth was. Many say, money isn't everything, and they're right. But when you're drowning in debt, struggling to afford medical care, or your child asks for something you can't provide, money becomes everything in that moment. You count every penny. It's not like health or love, which are subjective. Money is precise. It's a clear indicator of progress or stagnation. But here's the unspoken truth. Money is a mirror. If you're insecure, you'll stay insecure even with more money. If you're generous, you'll be even more so. Fear? That amplifies too. That's why lottery winners often lose it all. They weren't internally prepared, and that's why Oprah, from the depths of poverty, built an empire. She changed internally before her bank balance did. When my income soared, I faced a choice: self-indulgence or using it for good. Sandy and I chose to support Cynthia's organization, which helps thousands of children. That touched me more deeply than any personal achievement ever had. Seeing those kids' smiles, reading the books we funded, knowing they had clean water, nutritious food, and a quality education, kids who were destined for poverty now had a chance. All because someone decided to make money a tool for transformation. That's when I understood, money isn't selfish. Selfish is refusing to grow, mistaking it for humility. Can you imagine the impact you could have if you truly embraced prosperity? This isn't about showing off. It's about looking at the world and saying, I can help and I will. But maybe you're thinking, I don't even know what I'd do with more money. I barely know what I want. Many live their lives reacting, paying bills, solving problems, never stopping to consider their true desires. Let me challenge you. Do you not know what you want? Or have you never allowed yourself to want? You weren't made to just survive. You were made to create, expand, contribute. That's why I propose a challenge. For 5 days, write it, one way each day that money could be a force for good in your hands. Forget what you'd buy for yourself. Focus on what you could build, offer, transform. You'll be surprised. This exercise shifts your focus from fear to contribution. That's where the magic happens. When your focus shifts from lack to impact, the universe realigns. You might not believe this now, I didn't. But having seen it work for hundreds of thousands, I can tell you, money won't change you, but it can reveal your best self, if you let it. So tell me, are you ready to let your money show you who you really are? The worst prison has no bars, it's in your mind. And the worst part is those inside often don't realize it. They live as if they're free, repeating the same habits, fears, and patterns, only to realize years later that their life is exactly where it started. I saw this firsthand, not with strangers but with loved ones. My Uncle Don, for instance, worked himself to the bone. He'd leave early, commute across Toronto, work overtime, just to make ends meet. It was like he was always chasing the next financial breath, but never reaching it. One Christmas, I saw him and my aunt scrambling, using credit cards for their kids' gifts. Next year will be different, they said. No, it won't, I replied. Why? Because you won't change. They fell silent. It hurt, but it was true. It wasn't a lack of effort or desire. It was a lack of awareness. They didn't even know there was another way. Most people live like this. Wake up, work, pay bills, sleep, repeat. Afraid of losing their jobs, afraid of trying something new, afraid to fail. But no one ever taught them that the problem isn't the world or the economy, it's the paradigm. A paradigm is the set of beliefs, habits, and patterns that control your actions. It's your mental autopilot, dictating what's possible, safe, realistic. And if you try to break free, it pulls you back. That voice that says, "What if it doesn't work? This isn't for me. Maybe not now." That's not caution, it's your paradigm holding you back. It's a program saying, "Stay where you are, it's safe here, it's familiar." And that, my friend, is a prison. You can have goals written everywhere, motivational quotes on your fridge, watch 1,000 videos like this. But until you identify where you are, nothing changes. You can't change course without knowing your starting point. I used to think a lack of goals was the problem, but I've met thousands who have dreams, but spend more time wondering why they can't have them than figuring out how. This reveals that the problem isn't the goal, it's the belief system behind it. My aunt once said she couldn't list her desires. For years, she'd only focused on her kids' needs, bills, necessities. She'd forgotten what it was like to want something for herself. It happens more than you think. You ask, "What do you want from life?" And they say, "Peace, tranquility." That's the answer of someone who wants to stop suffering, not someone who dreams. And it's not their fault, it's the paradigm's effect. I didn't know what a paradigm was when I was poor. I just knew that no matter what I tried, I ended up back where I started. Only when I understood that my results were a direct reflection of my thoughts did things change. And it wasn't magic. I changed my thinking. Admitting we're responsible for where we are is uncomfortable, but realizing we can change it is liberating. So tell me clearly, where are you financially? I don't mean your bank balance. I mean the patterns, habits, and beliefs you repeat unconsciously. Do you believe you need to work hard for money? That only rich people can invest? Do you feel guilty wanting more? If yes, your paradigm is in control. But here's the good news. It can be reprogrammed. But before you change, you must acknowledge you're trapped, that something within you is stronger than your will, and that repeating actions expecting different results never works. You don't have to live like your parents did. You can break the cycle, but only if you dare to look at what's holding you back. Change starts when you admit you're stuck, not because the world is unfair, but because your internal system is keeping you there. Once you understand this, you regain control. What was once a prison becomes a starting point. It all begins with a thought. This isn't just a pretty metaphor, it's a fact. Thought is energy, literally. It has frequency, it vibrates, and it creates. When I say your thoughts shape your reality, it's not motivational fluff, it's true. For years I was ridiculed for saying this, but scientists like Dr. Bruce Lipton, epigenetics, and the HeartMath Institute, Emotions' Influence on the Body, have confirmed it. What you think and feel affects your body, mind, and environment. I even worked with Captain Edgar Mitchell, an Apollo astronaut, who conducted thought transmission experiments from the moon, yes, the moon, to researchers on Earth. It was recorded, documented, and studied. It changed how I viewed the human mind. Thought isn't abstract. It's a force, a frequency that transcends time and space. Your thoughts are creating your reality now. If you think scarcity, repeat phrases like, "I never have enough money," "I'm bad with finances," "I can't get out of debt." The universe responds, not because it's magic, but because you're programming your behavior, decisions, and feelings, which determine your results. Notice how when you worry about debt, everything seems to go wrong. Your car breaks down, bills are late, emergencies arise. You think, "I knew this would happen." You did. You created it. Most people are in a cycle. Think the worst, feel fear, act limited, and the result confirms their initial thoughts, reinforcing the belief, restarting the cycle. This isn't coincidence, it's cause and effect. Thought doesn't have to be grand, it just needs to be intentional. You can train your mind like a muscle, but most minds are so weak, so distracted, that they can barely hold a positive image for 5 minutes. When was the last time you visualized your ideal life? When did you last detail your ideal day, from waking to sleeping? I've done this for over 50 years. I carry a card with my goals detailed. Touching it sends a signal. The image appears, activating specific brain cells that keep me aligned. It's not magic, it's neuroscience, neuroplasticity. Your brain responds to repeated stimuli. If you repeat failure, worry, and fear, your brain adapts and believes it's the norm. But if you feed it a clear, consistent image with emotion, your brain and the world adapt. The external world reflects the internal. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. True change doesn't start with making money, it starts with thinking differently. The mistake is waiting for life to change before changing your thinking. Thinking precedes reality, not the other way around. Want to escape scarcity? Think abundance, fear, think courage, doubt, think faith. This isn't denying reality. It's projecting a new reality while acting within the current one. You don't need to understand everything now. Just take one step. Observe your thoughts, your self-talk, and start visualizing, even for 3 minutes, what you want. What you think clearly and repeat with emotion inevitably manifests. You're creating your life now. The question is, consciously or unconsciously? He sat in the back, legs crossed, eating candy like he owned the place, laughing, interrupting. And I was terrified. This man was imposing, having spent 7.5 years in solitary confinement for shooting someone during a robbery. He was the type you'd cross the street to avoid, and I'd insisted he be there because I believed no one was a lost cause. Everyone warned me, "Bob, this man is dangerous. He'll disrespect you, ruin the group." And for months, that's exactly what happened. He mocked, laughed at the wrong times, dominated the room. Each time, fear gripped me, but something inside said I couldn't give up. Giving up would reinforce what the world had told him. You're hopeless. Then I made a decision. I drove 165 miles, my heart pounding, convincing myself I had to face this. I started the meeting as usual, and he began his attacks. I stopped speaking, walked to him, looked him in the eyes and said, "You must be the biggest idiot I've ever met." Absolute silence. He turned red, tensed, and for a moment, I thought he'd kill me. Then, he laughed. A loud, nervous, surprised laugh. I knew I'd broken through an invisible barrier. From that day on, he sat in the front row. If anyone disrupted the meeting, he'd glare. He became the group's discipline officer. The man everyone feared helped transform others and his own life. Years later, he was paroled, rebuilt his family, raised his wife's daughter, and worked with me, becoming one of my best, most loyal and dedicated employees. He wasn't inherently criminal. He was a reflection of his self-belief. This happens to us all. You might not be in a concrete prison, but you could be trapped in an invisible cell called paradigm. This isn't about him. It's about you. How many times have you sabotaged yourself out of fear? Convinced yourself it wasn't possible for you, too late, too early, too hard. Sometimes your inner saboteur is laughing, just like he was, laughing at your attempts to change, your goals, your affirmations, and you believe that voice. But what if it's just repeating what you've been told since childhood? No one is born broken or limited. We learn to shrink ourselves, to imprison ourselves. Changing your life isn't about luck, talent, or connections. It's about challenging that inner character that keeps you stuck. I've seen people from nothing rise, and those with everything self-destruct. It doesn't matter what you have. It matters what you believe you deserve. If you believe you don't deserve a prosperous, secure, abundant life, you'll sabotage anything that gets you close. You'll waste opportunities, delay decisions, postpone plans, and hide. But if you admit even slightly that you might deserve an incredible life, the chains begin to loosen. That's what happened to him. He didn't change because of theory. He changed because someone saw beyond the mask. That's my intention with you now. Maybe you're in debt, trapped in a job you hate, a stifling relationship, or a limiting mindset that says, "This is all I can achieve." That's not true. You're not your past, your failures, or your mistakes. You are what you choose to be from now on. Sometimes all it takes is a reminder. Look in the mirror with courage and say, "I am not my former self, I am my next self." That new you will change everything. Not tomorrow, not when everything is perfect, but now, with a single thought, decision, spark of courage. That's how you unlock an invisible prison from the inside out. If you want to change your financial situation or any area of your life, you need clarity, absolute clarity. Without knowing exactly where you are and having a clear image of your destination, everything feels confusing, unstable, and frustrating. Frustration leads to giving up. I see it daily. People say, "I have goals." And when asked what they are, they say, "I want more money." More money could be 50 cents or $20. That's not clarity. It's a vague wish producing vague results. Be specific. Paint your destination with words and images so real, your mind believes it's already happening. And here's something often overlooked. Knowing your destination isn't enough. To progress, you must honestly acknowledge your current position. Imagine a GPS. Without your precise location, it can't guide you. Most people avoid confronting their reality, avoiding bank statements, ignoring debts, and refusing to admit their blocks. Unlocking your potential isn't about luck or sheer willpower. It's about rewiring your brain and confronting your inner saboteur. For over 50 years, I've carried a card listing my goals, a daily ritual that's less about motivation and more about harnessing the power of neuroplasticity. The simple act of touching that card triggers a mental image, reinforcing my objectives. But even with years of experience, I've learned that our minds are masters of subtle self-sabotage, whispering seemingly reasonable excuses to keep us comfy in our comfort zones. Take, for instance, my attempt to write daily with my non-dominant hand, a conscious effort to break routines and stay present. More than once, I've almost talked myself out of it, creating justifications like, "I'm tired," or "I'll do it later," the insidious voice of procrastination cleverly disguised as self-care. Each small concession, each unkept promise, chips away at your progress. You can devour self-help books, binge motivational videos, but without consistent action, your dreams remain just that, dreams. The difference between achieving and merely aspiring hinges entirely on unwavering commitment, on honoring your word, even when no one's watching. Your current circumstances, debt, unemployment, emotional fragility, are irrelevant. Your destiny isn't defined by your present situation, but by your response to it. Clarity about your goals, coupled with daily, even incremental action, is the key to transformation. So let's get brutally honest. Have you meticulously detailed your financial aspirations, your ideal income, investments, lifestyle? Equally important, have you honestly assessed your current financial reality, your debts, expenses, obstacles? If not, that's step one. Write it all down. Be unflinchingly honest. Then, write down your desired future. But don't stop there. Touch that vision daily. Feel it. Embrace it. Especially when you don't feel like it. Those are the moments you reprogram your subconscious, breaking through old limiting beliefs and birthing a new you. With clarity, consistency, and commitment, no goal remains out of reach. Why do so many intelligent, hard-working, talented individuals struggle financially? The pattern I've observed isn't a lack of skill or opportunity, but a deficit in self-worth. It's not about your capabilities, but your belief in your deservingness. Subconsciously, a lack of self-belief manifests as missed opportunities, accepting less than your worth, retreating when you should advance. It's not incompetence, it's self-sabotage rooted in deeply ingrained beliefs. Maybe you grew up hearing things like, "Money is the root of all evil," or "You have to suffer to succeed." These aren't just phrases. They become internal truths, invisible yet potent barriers. For a long time, I struggled with a profound sense of unworthiness. Success felt uncomfortable, even guilty, like I was betraying my roots. This internal conflict crippled me, stalled businesses, missed partnerships, neglected investments. A voice kept whispering, "You've gone far enough." Finally, I confronted it head-on, writing down, "What do I truly believe about wealth?" The answer unearthed a deep-seated fear that abundance would cost me my authenticity, alienate my friends, and turn me into someone I didn't recognize. The obstacle wasn't a lack of resources, but self-doubt, fear, and a lack of self-worth. This isn't uncommon. Have you ever shrunk away from praise, undercharged for your services, sabotaged yourself just before a major breakthrough? It's not bad luck. It's self-sabotage disguised as humility or prudence. You weren't born to live a life of scarcity, to accept the bare minimum, to repeat the patterns of generations past. You were born with boundless creative potential, But realizing that potential requires one crucial yet cultivatable ingredient, the unwavering belief that you deserve more. Positive affirmations are useless unless you act like someone who values themselves. Stop compromising your dignity, say no to anything that diminishes you, and yes to anything that expands your horizons. Over the next 3 days, jot down every instance where you pulled back out of fear of not deserving. Compliments rejected, opportunities missed, ideas abandoned. Be surprised by the extent to which your sense of self-worth impacts your financial reality. The money and opportunities are already there. The only question is, will you step into your power and embrace your inherent worthiness? When you do, everything aligns. It's not just information that changes your life. It's the decision to break free from the internal cycle that keeps you stuck. It all starts within: your self-image, your beliefs, your thoughts, even when no one's watching. You don't need more time, luck, or effort. You need clarity, courage, and consistency. That's the game changer. When you change, everything changes with you. Catch the next video to keep growing and be at least a little better than you were before. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.